Sometimes we will require multiple rounds of factoring in order to factor a polynomial as much as possible. We say that a polynomial is fully factored if any greatest common factor has been factored out, and then all remaining polynomial factors are prime. So, as an example, let's fully factor the polynomial x to the fourth times y squared minus 16 times y squared. Looking at this polynomial, the first thing we notice is that the greatest common factor of our two terms is y squared. So we'll factor out a y squared, and then what remains of the first term is x to the fourth. What remains of the second term is 16. Okay, now at this point, we're finished with the greatest common factor. The y squared that we've factored out is just going to sit there until we're finished with the rest of our factoring and ready to put everything together. The next thing we're going to do is consider our polynomial factor, x to the fourth minus 16. And the thing that we notice about this, so it has two terms. When we're trying to factor something with two terms, we look for a special form. And this looks like it is a special form. It's a difference of squares. We're going to factor it as such. Right, so we have x squared minus 4 squared, and that'll factor as x squared minus 4 times x squared plus 4. Okay, so our greatest common factor is dealt with. We've now factored our x to the fourth minus 16. But now we have some new polynomial factors, and we want to see if they are prime. My first polynomial, I have x squared minus 4. That's x squared minus 2 squared. That's another difference of squares. So we'll factor this as x minus 2 times x plus 2. So that's this factor. On the other hand, x squared plus 4, that's a sum of squares. And there's no funny business I can do, right? I don't secretly have cubes as well or anything like that. That's a sum of squares. It's prime. So my second factor up here is already prime. I can't factor that further. These factors are linear, so they are prime. And so all of my polynomial factors that I have left are now prime. I can now put everything together. So I've got my GCF, y squared, and then I've got my x minus 2 times x plus 2. And finally, my x squared plus 4. And that now is my original polynomial, x to the fourth y squared minus 16y squared, factored fully.